Welcome back with another banger. It's the React Files. Hope you're having a good night. Let's get straight to it.
It's time to wake up. I've been watching presidents since Nixon when I was a kid. It's flip-flopped back and forth from Republican to Democrat. Yet, inflation has consistently gone up, prices of food have consistently gone up, and if you don't believe that, well, when I was a teenager and I got my first car, gas was 69 cents a gallon, and now it's $5 a gallon. A gallon of milk used to cost 35 cents when I was a kid. Now a gallon of milk is about $4 or $4.50. You tell me, are we gonna blame this on any particular individual, any particular presidency? Or are we gonna come to terms and realize that no matter who gets in there, your cost of living, your inflation, the overall debt of the company, and I do mean company, not country, it's a company. The company called the United States, it's a corporation, is gonna continue to go up, 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 up. And the only thing you can do is really figure out for yourself, how can you navigate this economic and financial matrix? How can you stop becoming a sheep? It's time to stand up and take the same energy that you put into this foolishness called the poly-trickster system and put that energy into your own life.
Tricks, the matrix, magic tricks. Let's explore the white rabbit as the trickster archetype. So the trickster archetype was coined by Carl Jung, and it's a boundary-breaking figure that challenges social norms. It uses humor, deception, and unpredictability to provoke transformation by revealing the shadow side of human nature. And in the modern world, the white rabbit really embodies this trickster archetype. Whether it's leading Alice down a rabbit hole, leading Neo to follow the white rabbit to a party, and what seems like an innocent party reveals hidden and sometimes unsettling truths. The trickster archetype is also portrayed as the jester. With its two-tone clothes, it represents its dual nature. It is both animal-like and divine, where it plays a role as the bridge between the conscious and the unconscious. Some classic depictions of this trickster archetype would be Brer Rabbit, which comes from African folklore, Bugs Bunny, Harvey the Rabbit, which was a 6-foot invisible rabbit who was actually not a rabbit at all. He was actually a 3-inch mythological creature who portrayed himself as a rabbit, which is another element of the trickster archetype, which is shapeshifting, which also mirrors Frank, the rabbit from Donnie Darko. Which leads us to the illusion of pulling a rabbit out of a hat, which comes back to the court jester, because it was first performed by the king's conjurer and was later popularized by a magician who called himself the Wizard of the North, and made even more popular by Houdini. Now, the rabbit has always been linked with superstition as well, such as having a rabbit's foot would bring you good luck and fortune, or saying rabbit rabbit on the first of the month. In some places they say white rabbits on the first of the month. President Roosevelt even admitted in an article in 1935 that he says rabbits on the first of every month when he wakes up. But this trickster archetype is not only about fun and games. It's actually an aspect of our own shadow, which is the repressed and hidden parts of our own personality, as well as the collective, representing the darker, more primitive parts of human nature. So it makes sense that this going down the rabbit hole often reveals the dark side of reality. And the trickster is the forerunner of the savior archetype. And after going down the rabbit hole, many do embody the savior archetype next, which can be selfless and helpful, looking to redeem humanity or seek salvation. But don't be tricked by the trickster, because seeing the darkness in the world can lead to a sense of moral superiority, and easily lead to pointing fingers at external bad guys and scapegoats and the evils of the world. But if you neglect to transform your own shadow, and instead only confront the collective shadows, you will remain in the trickster's tricks. You might think you've become the savior of humanity. The shadow side of the savior is far darker. This is how we get cult leaders. So if you're gonna go down the rabbit hole, remember to look in the mirror and don't be a silly rabbit.
I agree. You definitely got to transform your own shadow and still find that happy balance, and don't give in to moral superiority. Shout outs to JK Ultra. Don't be a silly rabbit. Tricks are for kids.
Trickster spirits are out and about right now. Saturn is about to go direct in Pisces, but Neptune is still retrograde, and Neptune is what rules over Pisces. Whenever you are working with Pisces energy and the Piscean space, there is the probability and possibility that the trickster spirits, and the shapeshifters too, are going to be around. Now, when you work with retrogrades through Pisces, those are going to be trickster spirits that don't really actually look like trickster spirits. So from now until December 7th, which is when Neptune goes direct, we are really being asked to sit and understand, is this our spirit? Is this our practice? Is this really what we want to do with our practice? And understand, how have we been tricked into practicing something up until this point? Were you tricked into practicing with other people and realized actually it's not for you? Were you tricked into practicing a certain kind of practice and realized actually that's not for me? With Saturn being in Pisces right now, a part of this trickster energy is kind of coming in to check on us to see, how are your boundaries? Are you going to keep your order in your practice when there are tricksters around? Or are you going to allow yourself to continue to play in that trickery energy where really, if you were in your spiritual disciplines, you would have no business being in that trickery energy? We all carry trickster energy with us. And in my opinion, this is what makes the Pisces space a little bit more dangerous than maybe it not being dangerous. Pisces also has to do with transition. So anything that's altering or changing in your life, you want to go from A to B, but you're not at A anymore and you're not quite to B yet. So you're in the transitionary phase. Where trickster spirits profit is getting you to go in their direction or getting you through those warded, veiled spaces of Pisces to the destination where they are going to receive what they want, rather than you using that transitionary space to land where you need to be on the other side of that transition so that you can receive what you need and you want in your practice and in your life. So since we are having these trickster spirits kind of like come to the surface right now, we're getting a clearer vision and a clearer check of, oh, this is why I've been doing this. Oh, this is what this is. Oh, that's what I've been playing in. I see. Clock it. Got it. I don't have time for that. That's not where I want to be. Let me receive my power, and also I'm moving on. I'm not going to land in the destination of that trickster spirit. I'll be landing in the destination that I'm asking for. So really, if there's anything unwanted, things that you do not want that are being revealed at this time, oh, I don't want that to happen. Oh, I don't want that to be around me. Oh, I don't want that feeling to exist. Oh, I don't want. There's a lot of ways that that's applicable. For you specifically, if you look at the house that Pisces is in, that will show you the area of life that this could be being revealed at this time. But check in. Anything that you don't want or is influencing you to make transitions in a way where you would not necessarily do it that way by yourself, or without that influence, probably a trickster. Discern for yourself if it's necessary to keep that trickster spirit around, or if you need to ground something so that you can go your own direction and that trickster spirit, for their own discretion, is in their own space now. For me, in my opinion, this is some of the most tiring spiritual work. Tricksters exist for a reason. They guard things. They have a lot of purposes, but most of the time they're trickster spirits because they're protecting something. Protecting their motivations, protecting what they want, protecting some wound that has come up. Sometimes we turn into tricksters because we are wounded. That's just what it is. The way that I really like to navigate these sort of spaces is to remember that we are all tricksters. We all have trickster energy in us. We all have a playful energy about us. Sometimes you have to play the game to understand what's going on. Sometimes you have to stop playing the game and say, this is not for me anymore, because now you do understand what's going on. More than likely, you'll realize you've been playing a game for a while, or you got played, kind of gross, but it could be applicable. You got played doing something. And if you're able to claim a prize or a victory or the new beginning through that, either I do or I do not want to play anymore, that's where your direction can be true. That's where you finally arrive. And one of the things that Pisces reminds us is that, yes, there is this big, long transition through the whole entire Piscean space or sphere, but there's also tiny little arrivals. Oh, I've arrived at this thing. Okay, and now I'm going to transition into another thing, and I've arrived at another thing, and then I'm going to make another transition, and it just keeps going. Especially with Saturn in Pisces, it's like the small detailed transitions. And with Saturn about to go direct, we're about to be really focused again on those small detailed transitions rather than like the big overarching transition. I'm sick and tired of these trickster spirits that have been around me, that have been coming to the surface recently. I'm over it. I'm over it. This is the only thing about Pisces energy that I don't like. So, Rah. Keep doing what you need to do. Keep up your brew. Gratitude, reverence, and love to you. If you can figure out the game that's being played, you can stop playing. If you can figure out the game that's being played, you can make your own claim and play your own game. And remember that sometimes the game is just to get you to play and waste your time. Regardless of that, see how worked up I am? Let me eat my lunch and calm down. I'll talk to you soon. Keep an eye out, okay? Trickster spirits on the rise right now. Keep your eyes focused. All right, that's it. I'm gonna go. Love you.
Shout out to Vodar.art. Trickster energies are on the loose. Watch out for those tricksters. Trickster energy is on the rise. It's crazy. That's right. Stay focused. We don't got time for games.
Dragon's Breath is a shotgun round, almost only made in the 12 gauge caliber.
The Ocean County Prosecutor's Office says magnesium shards of a Dragon's Breath ignited a wildfire in Jackson Township last week when 37-year-old Richard Shashady allegedly fired a rifle at a range near Six Flags Great Adventure.
Basically, it's an incendiary round that uses burning magnesium, which is extremely hot to come out, and it looks like a flamethrower. So it's going to be a big, long line of flame, about 20 to 40 yards long, and then when it lands, it can still cause fire.
The New Jersey Forest Fire Service says the wildfire grew to 350 acres, threatened more than 24 structures, and forced some to temporarily evacuate their homes. It's one of at least several burning in the Garden State, which is experiencing record-breaking dry conditions.
Bro, what is this? Call of Duty? Shout out to New Jersey. Who's shooting Dragon Breath in the middle of a 40-day drought? This is insane.
Strong winds are making a tough job even tougher for the firefighters who have been battling the wildfire on the New York-New Jersey border. The Jennings Creek wildfire burning in Passaic County, New Jersey and Orange County, New York is still only 20% contained as of Tuesday morning. Wind gusts are expected to reach up to 35 miles an hour through Tuesday evening, which could fuel the fire that's already engulfed 3,500 acres and killed one person. The fire claimed the life of an 18-year-old firefighter and New York Parks employee over the weekend. A helicopter with a capacity of 350 gallons of water and fire engines remain on scene Tuesday to aid firefighting efforts. The good news is that winds will die down starting Wednesday, with no gusty winds expected for the rest of the week. On the flip side, no rain is in the forecast for days. Forecasters say dry conditions will prevail through at least Monday.
New evacuations are underway in New York and New Jersey as deadly wildfires rage out of control. The Jennings Creek wildfire has scorched more than 5,000 acres along the New York-New Jersey border. New York's governor calls it the biggest fire the state has seen in years. ABC's Trevor Ault is in Hewitt, New Jersey with the latest.
Well, Diane, it's very strange to see this play out in the Northeast in mid-November, but it's just been so dry here it essentially created a tinderbox. The Jennings Creek wildfire has now charred more than 5,000 acres between New York and New Jersey. It's burning right along the border just west of New York City. The governor of New York says that even just that section burning in New York State, it makes this the worst fire that they've seen in several years. Now, we've been watching Black Hawk helicopters from the National Guard dropping hundreds of gallons of water. Drones are flying overhead trying to survey the damage, and the smoke has led to some air quality alerts in both New York and New Jersey. We also know this has killed at least one person, 18-year-old Dariel Vasquez, a parks worker that was trying to clear out some brush for firefighters. He was struck and killed by a falling tree. Overnight, there was a memorial service held at the high school where he just recently graduated. Now, since just the beginning of October in New Jersey, they have already responded to 500 wildfires, including 40 of them just this past weekend. And you might notice the wind that's really blowing right now. Firefighters are concerned about those winds picking it up and fueling these flames even more, Diane.
Rest in peace to Dario Vasquez, and my condolences to his family, trying to help get things out the way for the fire crews. He definitely saved a lot of lives, but this is devastating. 500 wildfires popped up over the past few days. That's insane.
What the heck does Ariana Grande think she's got going on? And I know damn well she knows this is going on. So if you guys haven't heard yet, Ariana Grande's new movie Wicked is set to release on November 22nd. And in conjunction of this, she also released these new dolls. Here is the Ariana Grande over here. You can see Wicked. And then first of all, who names a child's toy Wicked? Like what sense does that make? Like who came up with that concept? I know it's a movie's name, but still, why would you name a movie's child Wicked and then a toy at that? And here are the other toys. Now, here's what they're not telling us. Now, on the back of these toys, and I mean every single one of them, because you have a lot of parents going out right now making sure on the back of these toys, do you see this website over here? Wicked.com is actually a corn site. You know, the kind that is restricted, that only allow adults access into the website. Y'all see this? So now every parent, including I, is going on social media and doing their due diligence to making sure this information gets out there, because they know Black Friday is around the corner and so is Christmas. And I know there's a lot of children who are looking forward to these type of toys. And now children got all kinds of iPads and phones nowadays, and they can go on these websites and see what they got going on right there, y'all. How sick is this? What is Ariana Grande doing? So I'm just another parent passing on the message, y'all, to let y'all know this is extremely wicked, extremely wicked, and pun intended. But share this video out, y'all, and yeah, Ariana Grande, y'all need to do better, man. This whole industry needs to change.
Shout out to Conscious Juice. Well said. This whole industry need to change. Oh, it's definitely wicked, but it's mainly for these parents to make sure y'all checking these boxes. Make sure that website ain't on it.
I have been able to ask a military aerospace source if the United States now has secret deep space vehicles for long distance space travel to other stars. And the answer that I received is yes. My source told me that under the new U.S. Space Force, the sixth and newest branch of American military, there are at least 3 long-distance space vehicles, each named after historic military leaders. One is the USS Curtis LeMay, named after 4-star General Curtis LeMay, who was U.S. Air Force Chief of Staff from 1961 to 1965. I have been told that the USS LeMay has been, quote, crewed in outer space since 2003 and has been to 22 different catalog solar systems in our small arm of the Milky Way galaxy. Along with the USS Curtis LeMay is the USS Hoyt Vandenberg, a second long-distance space vehicle named after Major General Hoyt Vandenberg. He was U.S. Air Force Chief of Staff and President Truman appointed member of MJ-12 that secretly studied UFOs and ETs beginning in 1947. And the third U.S. long-distance space vehicle is named the USS Roscoe Hillenkoetter. Quoting from my source, the Hoyt Vandenberg is built mainly for reconnaissance, stellar mapping, laying out navigation paths to avoid cosmic obstacles, high radiation zones, newborn star development, and making first contact with other life forms. The USS Vandenberg has the largest crew of tall whites and Nordics from Sirius B on board to help facilitate first contact interaction correctly, meaning first contact interaction with other beings, other species in our cosmos. You could say that the USS Vandenberg is really the tip of the spear as we venture out. Just know that this is done under supervision from the 2 very old and responsible and respected off-world groups, the Tall Whites and the Nordics. Most of the contacts we made in cataloging different star systems have intelligences that are aware that the Tall Whites and Nordics are supervising us, meaning us humans. The Tall Whites and Nordics do not tell us where to go or where to look for other civilizations. They only monitor our activity while being on board our craft, close quote. In addition to the USS Curtis LeMay and the USS Hoyt Vandenberg, a third United States deep space vehicle is the USS Roscoe Hillenkoetter, named after Navy Admiral Hillenkoetter, who was the first CIA director from 1947 to 1950. He was a member of the Board of Governors for NICAP, the National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomena, from 1957 to 1962. Mr. Hillenkoetter was a Truman-appointed member of MJ-12 that secretly has studied UFOs and ETs for the U.S. government since its creation in 1947 by President Harry S. Truman. My source adds, quote, "The Hillenkoetter, meaning the vehicle that goes into deep space, is tasked with dedicated group study mainly. It is built differently than the USS Hoyt Vandenberg in the areas of carrying large payloads to the surface of planets and keeping downward stations supplied for long duration of planetary surface studies. Both the USS Hillenkoetter and the USS Vandenberg have crew from the United States, the UK, Russia, and Germany. The Tall Whites work in conjunction with these other multi-country crews. The Nordic group is the oldest we have cataloged and have a standing respect of sorts from other groups of extraterrestrial civilizations, mainly due to the Nordics' longevity and keeping peace and any outside non-friendly groups at bay. The Nordics have very advanced technology that they don't share, except to say some of their technology is incorporated into both the USS Hillenkoetter and the USS Hoyt Vandenberg under their, the Tall Whites, supervision. The USS Curtis LeMay has been able to crew in outer space since 2003 because it is a U.S. deep space vehicle capable of deep quantum tunneling protocol, or DQTP. That's the physics of tunneling through space-time with Alcubierre warp drive to explore in other solar systems. Deep quantum tunneling might reduce travel time of, say, 50 light years down to only 5 Earth days of travel. Wikipedia defines deep quantum tunneling as a quantum mechanical phenomenon where the wave function can propagate through a potential barrier. Tunneling may be explained in terms of the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, in that a quantum object can be known as a wave or as a particle in the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. In other words, the uncertainty in the exact location of light particles allows those photons to break rules of classical mechanics and move in space without passing over the potential energy barrier. My military aerospace source says that with help from friendly ET allies, such as the Tall Whites and Blonde Nordics, the USS Curtis LeMay was built to explore Earth's interstellar neighborhood since 2003, exploring 22 different solar systems in our arm of the Milky Way galaxy, including where blonde, blue-eyed, pale-skinned Nordics inhabit Procyon A and B, a binary star system 11.45 light-years from Earth. There, the very bright Procyon A orbits the fainter companion Procyon B. The pair orbit each other with a period of about 41 years along an elliptical orbit. The Nordics also inhabit another binary star system, Sirius A and B. Sirius A is the brightest star in Earth's sky, and there is its much smaller and dimmer companion, Sirius B. That star system is home to blonde, blue-eyed, white-skinned Nordic humanoids, and another humanoid species that lives in water, like the historic fish scale people of Mesopotamia and Mali, Africa. But my source of this information stresses, quote, "Our true friends that help us the most are the Tall Whites. These extraterrestrials are from 82G Eridani, about 20 light years from Earth, which is one of the 22 catalog star systems that our U.S. Space Force has explored. It is a main sequence star with a stellar classification of G6V and hosts a system of at least 3 super-Earth planets. Close quote. Even in the 1970 book Habitable Planets for Man, 82G Eridani was given the highest estimate for habitability.
Deep quantum tunneling, and it's actually in Wikipedia. Shout out to Linda Moulton Hope. The fact that it's an actual branch of the military should say it all.
Everyone is calling the new Minecraft AI a lobotomy simulator, and it'll make you question reality. It's called Oasis, and it has people feeling like they're dreaming or just losing their minds. The most impressive part of it all, it does it all with no game code. Instead, it's an AI model that generates a video of an open world game in real time. But instead of generating a video from text, as most AI generators do, it generates a frame-by-frame experience using strictly mouse and keyboard input, called Next Frame Prediction, trained on thousands of hours of Minecraft footage available online, predicting each frame in real time based on your keyboard and mouse movements. It feels like playing Minecraft while having open brain surgery, simulating the graphics and physics of the familiar open world in real time, allowing you to walk, jump, and break blocks as you're used to. Except everything just constantly changes whenever you look away. It is such a trip. Every time you turn around, look up, or just get too close to anything, you find yourself in a completely different world. With many saying this must be what schizophrenia, psychosis, or even getting a lobotomy must feel like. But it's also low-key just the most realistic portrayal of what dreaming looks and feels like. Never quite getting a full grasp of what's going on around you while your brain is just trying to make sense of it all. It uses the Descartes generative AI open world model, and it has no real logic. It sort of just guesses what should happen next based on all the Minecraft videos it's been trained on, which is why the entire game is just so unexplainably mind-bending. You'll turn around, find yourself in a cave, look up, and realize you're actually looking down from on top of a mountain. Keep turning and you're actually really high up, and not even on a mountain, but floating in midair from which you fall down. One of the craziest AI projects yet, but taking a deeper look, we see the technology behind it, called Sohu, a new ASIC released by this company Etched. An ASIC is an application-specific integrated circuit, basically a superpowered GPU built for a very specific purpose, like Bitcoin mining ASICs. But in this case, instead of mining, it's built for generative AI, more specifically transformers, the T in ChatGPT, generative pre-trained transformer, making real-time AI-generated open worlds like these a possibility. And just like Bitcoin mining ASICs made GPU mining obsolete, this has the potential to do the same for AI. They raised over $120 million in funding for this project and claim to be over 20 times faster than Nvidia's H100, which is currently their best GPU for deep learning. As of today, you can demo the Minecraft AI Oasis straight from a browser, running off their cloud computers using H100s in 360p, only 500 million parameters, and super duper laggy. But Sohu, they say, will be able to deliver over 100 billion parameters in 4K resolution and more than 10 times the amount of concurrent users. The company also eerily claims that within a decade, the majority of internet content will be AI. And we can already see it happening with all the faceless AI text-to-speech channels we see online. This takes generative AI to the next level, essentially a video game engine without any coding required. And just like AI video prompts, there's virtually no skill needed and anyone can use it. Is this the beginning of the end of human creativity as we rely less and less on our own critical thinking and artistic imagination, becoming fully dependent on AI?
Now that was trippy. Shout out to Phil Spixel. It looks like Sohu about to change the game. It looked like AI was dreaming.
The sleeves of my shirt and the bottoms of my pants were covering the rub marks from the ropes that he used to hold me down.
I'm pinned down by other guys, and everything I had on was ripped so fast. And the only thing I could do is just, as I was pointing my face to the ceiling, and I'm just like, please don't do this, I'm a virgin.
And then they sorted me separately because I was a virgin.
I was so scared when the boss heard this, because the guys were so charged up, like, yeah.
So they sorted me less than $300.
He's like, whoa, boy, stop. And they all stop. It's like they programmed to stop.
Sometimes in this rural village, they are so poor. Entire town of men buy one girl and then they rape them constantly until she dies, and they buy another girl and then do the same thing. That's how they treat you. We are not even human beings to them.
He's like, put something on her. He said, boys, we have stumbled across a huge cargo.
She kind of came up to me and dropped a quarter in front of me and then asked me if I was okay. And I looked at her and I said, no, I'm not okay.
He said, right, let's get her ready to the safe house because she needs a lot of training.
People was down here in Atlanta being trafficked in the back of a budget truck. And they need some help, hands tied up and shit. I'm just gonna keep following them until I see authorities or something. I made the call for them. I made the call for them. Move that car, report, move it.
It's emergency.
I'm stuck in a shipping container. I've been trying to call for hours. I can't breathe in here.
Okay, stay calm.
I think the signal's really bad.
The signal's bad, but I can hear you. What's your location?
I'm in the refugee site, Felixstowe. One of the containers. I went in, but the door's stuck behind me.
Okay, 1 moment. So that site has several kilometers of stacked containers. Can you help us narrow it down?
I don't know. There's no air in here.
It's okay. Just try to stay calm. Alright, how near to the entrance are you?
I don't know. I jumped the fence.
Okay. And is anyone else with you?
No,
Okay, we're close.
I can't.
You can. I know you can. Come on. Sir?
I can't.
You can. Come on. I need you to bang on that door.
It's so dark. There's no oxygen.
Sir? Can you try to remain calm and breathe slowly? The team's there looking for you now.
Oh, thank God, man. Thank you. Man, I'm so proud of myself. I was not stopping. I was not giving up. I'm not giving up on y'all.
Shout outs to Nightmare Fuel. Shout outs to that citizen who called the police and he seen that sketchiness. Word, if you ever see something sketchy like that, just hit them 3 numbers. Get the authorities on the phone ASAP. That phone call was very haunting. To see them containers open with all them clothes hanging up, that was eye-opening right there. That's horrific. Beyond heartbreaking. Looks like somebody might have left something in the ashtray. I was actually waiting for someone to get out while smoking a huge one.
When I found out who God's divine counsel was, a whole lot of things started making a whole lot more sense. Who does God consult with when making decisions? Who gives him counsel? Nobody. God's divine counsel, you can't find that in the Bible anywhere. People are greatly mistaken, if not outright deceived, as to God's divine counsel and what that actually is. Knowing that he takes counsel from nobody, he is the counselor. That's not to say he doesn't ask for volunteers. There is a heavenly host after all. Who are they? The sun, moon, and stars. Let me be very clear. The sun, moon, and stars are likened to mansions in heaven, whereas this is more like a tent on earth. You see. If you can't see, you might need a procedure whereby Jesus spits in the mud and then rubs it in your eyes for you. You have to consult with him about that. The sun, moon, and stars are mansions in heaven, whereas physical bodies are like tents on earth. Tents, because you're not going to stay long. Your life is but a vapor, here today, gone tomorrow, a wisp. 80 years is nothing. In terms of time on the relative scale, where 1,000 years is like a day to the Lord. You see, time passes differently depending on how small or large you are. No, really. Depending on where you are you on the earth? Are you in heaven? Time is relative. This we have proven. We know this to be true. Time moves differently for people on the 10th floor than it does for people on the 1st floor. We know this. It's measured. The difference is so insignificant from the first floor to the 10th floor that nobody notices this in any way. But like the grasshopper thinks you're a god. Get it? You're gonna live to see many generations of grasshopper. Compared to the grasshopper, a day to you is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is a day, or some such. Maybe you have to scale down to bacteria to hit that, I don't know. I didn't do the math, but it's like relativity, right? I mean, compared to a sperm cell, you are for surely a god, right? Next level, lowercase g. Not the god, but a god. Like something next level, lowercase g god. Something next level above us, right? Such as the sun. People worship the sun. Many generations of men have come and gone on this earth, and yet the sun remains. The moon. People worship the moon. Many generations of men have come and gone on the earth, and yet the moon remains. The stars. Many generations of men have come and gone on the earth. The stars remain. The earth itself. Mother Earth. Gaia, according to the Greeks. Many generations have come and gone, and yet the earth remains. A next level, lowercase g, God. All these things are alive, and if you don't think so, I don't care. If you can't know that, what else don't you know? The earth is a living, breathing thing. Who is it? The earth. The moon is the moon. The sun is the sun. That's who they are. And they're all alive, absolutely. They all live and breathe, every one of them. That breath of life, which means they have a soul. Who gave it to them? God, their creator. Am I just making stuff up? Nah, fam, this is page 1. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. Practical, easy. Nobody disagrees that that's what they do, right? And let them be for signs. Wait a minute, that's not allowed now, is it? And for seasons, and for days, and for years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. Once again, of course. Who is disputing that? And it was so, and we know that. And God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day. Wait a minute. And the lesser light to rule the night. Okay, to give light upon the earth, but also to rule the day and the night. He made the stars also, and God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, number 1. And to rule over the day and over the night, number 2 job. And to divide the light from the darkness, number 3 job. And God saw that it was good that the sun, moon, and stars should divide the light from the darkness, rule over the day and the night, and give light upon the earth. Jesus said something peculiar in Matthew 24. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. And the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken. What powers in heaven shall be shaken if the stars are going to fall to the earth? And don't be confused. I'm not talking about the mansions themselves. The body of the star is not going to fall to the earth in that way. No, I'm talking about the soul that is in the star is going to fall to the earth and lose its heavenly habitation. There won't be a place found anymore for that entity, that being, that consciousness will be thrown out of that mansion, in which case he might need another body with a metabolism so that he can have perception on this level of the earth. You can imagine a soul as like the driver, and the different kinds of bodies are like vehicles. And I'm not saying that like the thing that drives a dog could drive a human. I'm saying the thing that drives a dog is designed to drive a dog, okay? That's not to say there's not another level for that soul on the next level. Another body for that soul of the dog to inhabit on the next level. Do all dogs go to heaven? No, not all of them. Only things that obey God get to be born again. Well, God told us to trust in Him to save us. Well, better do that first, and afterwards He gave commands is what we're supposed to do following Him. Supposed to do those. Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and don't do what I tell you? Ye are my friends if you do whatsoever I command you. What heavy burden is this? No, it's light and easy. It's love. Love your neighbor as yourself. But very often, my 2 dogs remind me of my moons. They're always following me around. And if I stand still and pet them, they literally do circles orbiting around my body. And so I says to myself, hey, these are my 2 moons. And you should consider that when thinking about the different kinds of heavenly bodies up there. And this is the second half of 1 Corinthians 15. I'm not being unbiblical. There's one kind of flesh for the earth. There's another kind of flesh for heaven. And I'm talking physical versus spiritual. And on earth in the physical, there are many different types of flesh. And in heaven in the celestial, there are many different types of bodies. And all of creation groans together for the sons of God to be made manifest. And that's the first resurrection, if you haven't heard. Look, heaven and earth are both going to get made new before it's all over. Like a garment, God will fold them up because they're going to get old. And because He is God, He will make them new again. I know this is going to happen for an absolute fact because the universe is toroidal, and that's what toroids do. Now, God might ask for volunteers once in a while. But with whom took He counsel, and who instructed him, and taught him in the path of judgment, and taught him knowledge, and showed him the way of understanding? Nobody. How do they divide the light from the darkness? Look, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth His handiwork. Day unto day the heavens, the sun, moon, and stars, uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge, ruling over the day and over the night. How are they dividing the light from the darkness? On a level deeper, more ironic than just simple light and darkness on the physical level? There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard declaring the glory of God. Uh-oh. Who believes them and who does not, as they divide the light from the darkness? Their line has gone out through all the earth, their courses in the night sky, or the day, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath He set a tabernacle for the sun, who tells the gospel of Jesus Christ in a universal language every single day to every nation, creed, and tongue, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race. His going forth is from the end of heaven in His circuit unto the ends of it, and there is nothing hid from the heat thereof. The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul, making wise the simple, dividing the day from the night and the light from the darkness, which is going to continue to happen all throughout the entire universe on every level until it has reached perfect equilibrium according to God's perfect plan, eternity, where the light is forever separated from the darkness. Spring, summer, fall, and winter, ye must be born again, and all of creation will be. And Revelation 19 gives us another hint, and I saw an angel standing in the sun. A mansion indeed. An angel in it? He calls the guests to the marriage supper of the Lamb. And I have only discussed those things which you can see with your own eyes, or hear a man describe to you, or read about in Braille, however it needs to happen. Sit outside of a day and let the sun shine upon your face. It'll tell you all about it. What? The glory of God. Don't worship the created thing, though. He's telling you about His Creator. And above the second heaven, where all these celestial bodies reside, there is a level yet still, called paradise. You can't see that, but you can know that it's true by looking at that right there. And if you don't believe me, zoom in with a microscope. Observe there are levels. What's actually going on here in reality is so much more practical than you can currently imagine. It's childlike simplicity and ultimate genius complexity. But the concept is simple as can be. Birth, growth, entropy, death. You must be born again, and everything tells you this. And if I am a fool for believing the gospel of Jesus Christ, then reality itself is foolishness.
That was deep, astronomically deep. Shout out to Dead Hidden. It's toroidal. He's definitely one of my favorite content creators.
I'm in the forest right now. Just looking for something. What? What was that? Oh! What? What was that? Oh! What? What was that?
Did you guys hear about the 4 friends that lost their lives in this Tesla fire? that this Tesla automatically went up in flames when the electronic door switch failed? Did you guys hear about this?
Friends have burned to death trapped inside a Tesla after the electronic doors failed. A woman in her 20s was the only survivor of the inferno after a Canada Post employee smashed the car's window with a metal pole. The victims have been identified as 25-year-old Neil Raj Gohil, his older sister Kataba, Jay Sisodia, and Digvijay Patel. Investigators are still to determine the exact cause of the...
They have yet to identify the cause of the crash, but they're not telling people to stay away from Tesla because this is happening way too many times too often. You don't hear about this type of stuff happening to the Toyotas or the Hondas or none of the Japanese models, the only Teslas, and people are still going to buy these things. These people are trying to make their lives easier in such a way, and the electronics had failed them miserably, and technology should never compromise people's safety when it comes to this type of situation. People are looking forward to see their loved ones, and then you lose your life to a car, an expensive car at that. And then the fact of the matter is, a lot of the time the brakes fail on these type of vehicles because that's the part of the electronics that go out as well when these things start glitching. So either way, you're literally in a ticking time bomb. So Elon Musk needs to do better. And yeah, let's continue to get this shift, y'all. Peace in.
There were a lot of survivors of Atlantis that went underground back in those days. And the ETs have done a lot of work down there, and they actually have what you would call a sun down there. It's a mini sun. It's a source of light. And there are lakes, they can farm. It's just like living on the surface, really. And there's even a lot of extinct dinosaurs and all kinds of animals down there. But I've written about that in one of my Convoluted Universe books, talks about the cities underground and how they are more modern than we are. They have more sophisticated computers than we have even begun to tap into. And a lot of it's because they haven't had the wars and everything to distract them. They've been able to focus on technology. Well, one thing they said they have, I don't know what you want to call it, a train, or it's like a transportation device that they can go anywhere they want throughout the underground city, and they can travel as much as 3,000 miles an hour. And I've been told that the entrances to these cities are underneath the pyramids, that they had the entrances first, and then the pyramids were put on top of them. This is the pyramids all over the world, the ones in Mexico as well as in Egypt. So I've written a lot about the underground cities, but those are positive people down there, and they have no desire to come to the surface at all. They are quite happy living under there.
And that's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed tonight's rabbit hole. If you haven't already, please take a second
just to smash that like, subscribe, ring that notification bell,
just to make sure the algorithm knows what's up. So what we gonna do, y'all? That's right, run these numbers up. Thanks again. Till next time.